Hi, my name is Monte Tilgner with the Iowa High School Athletic Association. This will be another video in a series for our preseason training tapes for the 2025 season. As you get prepared for your season, this is going to be focused on thresholds for fouls, some philosophies, and some rules and enforcements of some of the common fouls that we see. All right, so this first one here, of offensive holding, we preached all this all last year. We really want to see a material restriction at the point of attack before we call an offensive hold. We still have way too many holds that are called that do not meet the guidelines that we want as far as having enough restriction is kind of the biggest thing. So one thing about this, if you watched our mechanics video earlier, this is mechanically, we could do a little better job here. When this play comes wide at us, get 3, 4, 5 yards in that offensive backfield. And you can see that play, developing and see those blocks better. But this is the type of restriction we want. So we're going to focus on this player right here. So let's watch him throughout the play. Again, he gets on the outside, a little bit of a grab there, probably not enough initially. So he does get this player on the outside, a little bit of a tug right there. Okay, right there, if he would let him go, we do not want that called. That's not enough. But it continues with grabbing this player's arm. As I go in slow motion here, and he won't let go, and eventually grabs and pulls his arm again and takes the guy down to the ground. Okay, so that is now enough, and you can see we got a flag from our headline judge. Again, preferred, you would be back here looking at this action. You also are going to be safer with these guys coming right at you, so you can still have that look and probably have a better look of that hold if you were back here. Our referee who's trailing this play also has a flag for that hold and is excellent, because that's exactly where our referee should be looking, is that front side block. So as we continue now with this, you can see we've got our flags come in. Okay, so let's talk about the enforcement of this penalty. All right, we snap the ball from position 1. Remember, ball positions never change. So position 1 is press box side at the hash. Position 2 is between the press box hash and the middle of the field on the press box side. Position 3 is in the middle of the field. Position 4 is opposite press box between the middle and the opposite hash. Position 5 is out here opposite press box on the hash. So we snap this ball from position 1. This is a running play. The basic spot on a running play that ends beyond the line of scrimmage is the end of the run. So if we have this as a hold that was beyond the line of scrimmage, but behind the end of the run, we would enforce it from the spot of the foul. So from the 32-yard line to the 22-yard line, and it would be from position 5 because the hold occurred outside position 5. So we would go from position 5, from the 32 back to the 22, and we would repeat first down. However, if we have this as a hold behind the line of scrimmage, so that's the one I like better, because I didn't think the first little restriction was enough, okay? But the one where he took him down to the ground definitely was. So if we had that as our hold, that happened behind the line of scrimmage. So now we're going to enforce this from the previous spot. Again, if that's that new rule from 2023, where we changed a whole lot of basic spots to make them a little more, I guess, correct. So we don't have those long holds that end up being, we repeat first down and we have a first and 24 because the hold was 4 yards behind. Now we're enforcing those from the previous spot. So now in this case, we would go from the 30, which is we would go from the 30, which is our previous spot, and we would go from the 30 back to the 20. But now we're going previous spot. Previous spot means two things. It means ball position and it means yard line. So the previous spot was the 30-yard line, ball position 1. So we're going to go from the 30 back to the 20, and we're going to snap the ball, repeating first down from the 20-yard line, but our ball position would be position 1. In either case, since this run ended up out of bounds, the clock would be on the snap. All right, next play. All right, so we have a defensive hold here. I'm going to back up a little bit, sorry. We have a defensive hold here that's going to occur. Okay, so here you can see our mesh point right there. This is where the hold's going to occur, all right? And our back judge and our line of scrimmage official probably see this. Maybe just our line of scrimmage official if our back judge was on this action, which he may be because there's, this guy's not free of foul. I think the flag comes from our line of scrimmage official if I remember right. But this is a defensive hold. The quarterback still has the ball. He's upright. He's not getting tackled. He hasn't already thrown it. So defensive hold is a two-step process. We see what's enough to be a hold. And again, what we're looking for is that dip of the shoulder that we see right there. Okay, he's grabbed and restricted that shoulder, and he's dipped that shoulder. Also, he's taking steps away from that receiver. That receiver's not able to go as fast downfield as he wants to. The quarterback still has the ball. So now, what's our enforcement? Well, it depends. In this case, the runner did not make it back to line of scrimmage. So the basic spot on a running play that ends up behind the line of scrimmage is the previous spot. So we would enforce this 10-yard foul from the previous spot 10 yards forward. Okay? If the runner made it past the line to gain, then the basic spot on a running play that ends beyond the line of scrimmage is the end of the run. So if he made it past the 20-yard line, let's say he made it to the 23-yard line, and we say that had that same defensive hold, we would enforce that 10 yards from the end of the run, which would be the 23-yard line to the 33-yard line. Okay? And again, in this case, since he went out of bounds, we'd be on the snap in either case. So it totally depends on where that runner ends up going out of bounds, if we enforce it from the previous spot or if we enforce it from the end of the run, which we kind of call attack on. All right, next play. A good call for a defensive hold again. Let's skip forward a little bit. This is a good thing to talk about here. We have 3 players close enough together. We want to call them a bunch. So get on the 020 when you see this and say bunch, bunch. And what that means is both the line judge and the headline judge and the back judge are going to be on this guy here that we call the head pin, the front of those 3 receivers, because he's the only one that has someone kind of pressed to him. This DB is close enough. He's going to contact him first, probably. So we want to make sure that he's able to get off that block and so on. So we're going to be looking at that, and then we called a bunch because we wait until they declare their routes, and they're going to declare their routes by going different directions and so on, and then we kind of figure out who we're going to guard. So right about now, we can figure out who is going to take who. And we have 2 receivers who are going deep. So the back judge is going to pick up both of those receivers, but he's going to focus more on this inside one because that's the one who is not free of foul. They're at a mesh point where there's contact. We could have a defensive hold, which is what we're going to see here in a second. Since this receiver broke off his route short, then this line of scrimmage official can be watching him. All right. This is a second down play, so really I prefer, since we're at the 17-yard line, that this line of scrimmage official just holds that line of scrimmage and watch. He is looking in the right spot, you can tell, but just hold that line of scrimmage. Now, the restriction you can see is just happening here. I'll go back a little bit so we get a little bit of a grab right here, and now we definitely have it. And we had the restriction before that ball's in the air, okay? And my next comment here is, oops, let me go back here a second. Right here. We cannot have DPI on this play for 2 reasons. One, the ball hasn't been thrown yet. We have the defensive hold. You can see again, that the dip of the shoulder, and the ball hasn't been thrown yet. Okay, so we can't have DPI. Secondly, we can't have DPI if that ball's not thrown to that particular receiver. So if he would be throwing this, if he would throw this ball to this receiver, we can't call DPI on this receiver. So the ball's got to be thrown to that receiver to have defensive pass interference called. But we can have a D hold. So flag comes out by our back judge. Great job. Continues to officiate. He's got the touchdown signal. And now remember, this is different than in other levels of football. College and NFL, this is different. For NFHS rules, all penalties by the non-scoring team can be enforced on the try or the succeeding kickoff. So the offense has two choices here. They can enforce this half the distance on the try and go for 2 from the 1.5 yard line, or they could enforce this 10-yard penalty from the 40 to the 50 and be kicking the ball off from the 50. They have both options available to them. Really good rules knowledge on this play. This will talk about the momentum exception. All right, so we're going to have a pass way downfield, and we're going to have interception. Really good position. Watch our back judge here. This is excellent. This is exactly what we want. Back judge is in the middle of the field. Now he sees this post route coming towards him. So what's he do? He moves away from it, gets that goal line, and just is right there. And he sees this interception possessed on the 3-yard line. His original momentum then takes him into the end zone. And let's say he downs it. Let's say, in this case, he tackles. Let's say he fumbles it, and the ball goes out the back of the end zone. It doesn't matter. In each case, he possessed the ball at the 3-yard line, and then the ball became dead in the end zone. Either he was tackled, he downed it, he fumbled the ball off the back. Wouldn't matter. We have the momentum exception. So our back judge is coming in, spot this ball at the 2. I'd like the 3 better, benefit of the doubt, put it out there a little further, but definitely have a good ruling for the momentum exception. He's on his 0-2-0 right now. You can see him on his hip, and he's communicating to the crew. We have a momentum exception. The ball will be at the 2-yard line. And remember, when we have this possible momentum exception, we want that beanbag to be tossed out to the yard line that he possesses it on. So really good job mechanically and ruling by this back judge. Next play. Yeah, so this is a play that happened in one of our semifinal games, and just rules knowledge. We need to know we cannot have an ineligible player downfield if the ball is first touched at or behind the neutral zone. By rule, we cannot. So we got to think when we see a lineman releasing downfield, we should be anticipating a screen pass. So now what we need to see is, where does this ball get touched first? And we can't have IDP, ineligible player downfield, or OPI if the player was blocking downfield before the ball was touched, if that pass is first touched behind the line of scrimmage. So that's what we need to know, is where's that ball touched? And if it's a screen pass, it's probably supposed to be and probably will be touched behind the line of scrimmage. So we need to know that and think about that so we don't throw our flag. Now, I like the fact that the line judge saw a lineman downfield, but we need to then know where that ball gets first touched. And this is a flag that we should have picked up. We didn't pick it up. Luckily, it wasn't an issue because we had a block in the back on the offensive team as well that we did enforce. Okay, so we have guys block downfield. They're not only downfield more than 2 yards for IDP, but they're blocking downfield. This guy's blocking downfield before this ball gets touched. So we have OPI hanging. And really, if you have OPI and you have IDP, you're going to go with the OPI. You're not going to throw 2 flags. You're going to throw 1 flag. You had an ineligible player downfield. Then that ineligible player started blocking. So now we have OPI hanging. But we don't have either one of those fouls, actually, because this ball's first touched behind the previous spot, behind the line of scrimmage. Okay. Now we have a block in the back, chase mode that's seen by our back judge. This is a 7-man game, so we have a side judge. He sees as well. Great. But it's a 5-man game. The back judge should be looking right there, and he should see this. So let's watch this block in the back as we continue. And Where does that block in the back occur? We want to talk penalty enforcement. That block in the back occurs at the 39, and this runner ends up breaking the tackle and gets downfield to, let's say, the 35. So we would enforce that then. That was a foul after the reception. So this is a running play now, and the basic spot would be the end of the run, 35. We have the block behind that at the 39. So we would enforce this 10 yards from the 39 back 10 yards, and we would be snapping the ball at the 40. Since he was out of bounds, we would be on the snap. And this is a foul by the offensive team, so we would have a 25-second play clock. Next play. We've got a possible hold. We definitely have a horse collar tackle. So we're going to take a look at this hold. We're going to take a look at the horse collar tackle. Then we're going to talk about the enforcement of if we have one of the penalties, we have both the penalties, if we have neither well, not if we have neither. So let's take a look here. All right, this is exactly where, and right now we already should be. We have a first down play. We already should be as a line judge here going backward. Remember, we're going to get that back in that offensive backfield. But I don't like this as an offensive hold, okay? We got to be very, very careful when they're blocking them on the side, okay? So what we're looking for, remember, for offensive hold, we're looking for a shoulder dip. We're looking for a twist of the shoulders. We're looking for a takedown, and we don't have any of those. In this play, we just have a continued drive block from the side. Now, when we have a drive block from the side, it looks bad because we got a defender who's running sideways. It looks really bad, but this is a big thing. Ugly is not a foul. We need to see enough restriction to be a foul. So let's just continue. I'm going to go in slow motion. Let's just continue this, and you can see now they get him blocking sideways, and it looks bad because this guy's running sideways, but they're just drive blocking him. They don't restrict him, okay? Sometimes this guy will throw his arms up in the air like he's being held. Now, this is a red flag, for a potential hold, okay? Could easily turn into restriction and foul, but it just doesn't. Well, we do have a flag coming out here for a hold, all right, by our line judge. Now, we certainly have a horse collar tackle. So 943K says a horse collar tackle is a grab the inside or side collar or nameplate area of the shoulder pad or the jersey of the runner and subsequently pulling that opponent to the ground, even if possession of the ball would be lost. So you can see here, definite horse collar tackle. Go back in slow motion. There he grabs him. There he yanks him down. Okay, so we continue. Killing the clock. Good job. So now let's talk about enforcement of all the things we could have. Okay, so if we just have the offensive hold and nothing else. Oh, wait, my bad. Well, starting with both fouls. If we have the hold and the horse collar tackle, then those penalties will offset. We'll replay the down from the previous spot. And the previous spot was snapped from the 40 ball position 5. So we'd be snapping the ball again from here, from position 5, and we'd have first down and 10 repeat. Okay? Sorry. If we only have the hold, since the hold was behind the line of scrimmage, it would be enforced from the previous spot. We would go previous spot, 40, position 5. We would go back 10 yards, and we would have first down and 10 over again from position 5. Ball was in, the runner was in bounds, so we would have, the clock would wind on the ready for play, and we'd have a 25-second clock. If we only have the horse collar tackle, since the end of the run was beyond the previous spot, the basic spot's the end of the run. Remember, all penalties by the team not in possession are enforced from the basic spot. We just said the basic spot was the end of the run. So we're going to tack on 15 yards from the end of the run. And we would enforce this from the negative 43 to the positive 42. And we would now be snapping the ball from position 1 because the end of the run was outside position 1. So we'd go to the 43 right here, and we would go 5, 10, 15 yards, and we would be snapping the ball from position 1. The play would result in a first down, and our clock status would be, again, a hot clock. We want it in ready for play. The play clock would be different. Remember, on fouls by the defense, we were going to have a 40-second play clock. So a lot of things that can happen there. Took you through a lot of different scenarios. Okay, fouls during punt plays, how to report them, how to enforce them. These are common ones, but ones that can be confusing at times. So we've got 2 returners back. We're going to kind of split them. We got a rugby kick here, and let's talk about our most common foul. And let's say that we have a hold right here. Okay, right now we have a hold. The ball is in the air, or the ball is bouncing around. Okay, so foul like a hold or an illegal block in the back during the kick play before the ball is possessed is covered by a special set of rules called post-scrimmage kick rules, PSK. And this is important. It's considered a kick until the ball is possessed by either team. So if the foul is before possession by team B, at the end of the play, the official who threw his flag should report the foul to the crew by saying, during the kick. And that's important. During the kick should get everyone's mind thinking PSK foul. So during the kick, holding, return team number 80. This is a PSK foul, and we'll enforce it from the end of the kick. And that's going to be marked by the beanbag that our back judge tosses. That's why we beanbag the end of the kick or possession by team R. Okay? So that ball gets picked up right here by team B. Our beanbag is going to be tossed up the 40-yard line. Okay, that's going to be our basic spot for PSK enforcement. And again, the foul was way up here in advance of that basic spot. So we're going to enforce from the basic spot. We're going to go from the 40 back to the 30, and it's going to be first down. And always after a kick play, we have a dead clock. So we would have 1st and 10 from the 30-yard line, and we would have the clock would start on the snap. Okay, now we're going to change this play a little bit. So now we have the foul after team possession. And this one, I couldn't really find a play that worked well, so I just stopped the play here. And what we're going to say is that this ball picked up right now, okay, and this is the return. This is our return path. And he ends up getting tackled here, okay? So this is during the return. That's a running play then. So the basic spot's the end of the run right here, all right? So let's discuss if the foul occurred after possession and during the run. First 3 words that come out of our mouth as a calling official are during the return. When we see during the return, we know it's a running play. The basic spot's going to be into the run. So now we're going to create 2 fouls here. Let's say that right here we have a hold, and we are at the 35-yard line, and we're right in the middle of the field, position 3. That may or may not matter. We'll see. Okay, but if we have a hold here, this would be a foul by the team in possession behind the basic spot, which is the end of the run. So we're going to force from the spot of the foul. Remember, spot of the foul means 2 things. It means the yard line, but it also means the ball position. So from the 35 back to the 25, and it's going to be from position 3. So we're going to go back 10 yards from position 3. We're going to be snapping this ball from the 25-yard line, position 3. They're going to have first down and 10. And because we have a legal kick play, clock's going to be on the snap. Okay, now let's change it. And let's say that we have a blindside block that occurred near the end of this play. So we have a blindside block that occurs here at about the 47, 48-yard line. But again, the end of the run was a 45. So now we have a foul by the team in possession in advance of the basic spot. So we're going to force it from the basic spot, the end of the run. So now we're going to go from the 45, position 1, back to the 35, and we're going to have first and 10. But now we're going to be at ball position 1. So it makes a big difference, ball position-wise, where we're going to enforce this penalty from. and it depends on when and where that foul occurred. So let's cover one last thing on these punt plays. What about a foul by the kicking team during a scrimmage kick? Okay, so plays over, we got a flag, we got whistles, and let's say we have an illegal formation foul. Pretty common one. Maybe they didn't have everyone up on the line of scrimmage. So we have illegal formation foul. And here's the rule. Remember, all fouls by Team K except kick catch interference, KCI, can be enforced in the previous spot and repeat fourth down, or they can be enforced from the dead ball spot with the choice of Team R. So if we had a 40-yard punt, which we did here, with no return, Team R might want to go back and back them up 5 yards and have them kick it now from the 27, thinking we're going to end up with having this in better position after he re-kicks this. Now, if not, maybe it was not a good kick, or maybe they got a long return. Maybe they returned at 30 yards and got it to the 50. They can tack on those 5 yards. So if not, Team R can have the 5-yard penalty enforced from the dead ball spot. In this case, from the 28 to the 33. But like I said, let's say that he ended up running with this ball and ended up running out of bounds at the 50. Then we would go in and tack this on from ball position 1 from the 50, 10 yards from, or my bad, 5 yards formation foul to the 45, and it would be 1st and 10. And again, legal kick play, clock's on the snap. I think that was our last play. Yep. That was a little longer, but covered a lot of good stuff there. So pregame these type of things, especially for opening season. And we may or may not have another training video out for the preseason, but otherwise they will start up right away after season 1. Send in plays to help us out and make our training videos better. Thanks, and we'll talk to you again soon.